The Secret Misses. Chapter 1141. The blonde-haired raised his brows. Babe, where are you going? Didn't we already give you the money? What more do you want? We only agreed to let your brother go. We didn't agree to let you go. The blonde evaluated Tiffany up and down with a devilish gaze. What do you mean? You've already gotten the money. How can you go back on your word? Margot instantly flew into a rage. The man with the gold chain chuckled. You've given us the money but you delayed it for so long, so shouldn't we ask for some interest? Interest? Tiffany had a bad feeling about this. What stupid interest? I think you're just intentionally picking fault. Margot was so mad that his chest heaved, but he was pulled back by Tiffany. There were too many of them. It was no use for them going the difficult way. You want more money? I can get more. I just need some time, Tiffany said. The man with the gold chain and the blonde looked at each other and revealed strange smiles. The blonde held his chin and looked at the woman before him. I don't need money. We aren't really lacking any. We just need you to stay here for a night with us and our buddies. Then, that interest will be considered paid off. Margot could not hold it in anymore. He struggled away from Tiffany's grip and rushed up to the blonde. Bastard. I'll kill you. Unfortunately, how could his small figure fight against those people? Among the crowd, a man with a scar on his face went up to him and punched him to the ground. You punk. Damn it. How dare you cause trouble here? At the same time, a sneering man in a black tank top with a body full of tattoos walked towards Tiffany. Tiffany never thought that Margot would ever mess with such people, but it was too late to say anything now. She could only stagger backward. However, she was just a girl and all of these were huge men. She could not really escape anywhere. She had just run a few steps before getting caught by the arm by the tattooed man. He shoved her hard towards the gang. In the process, her coat was inevitably pulled away and her flimsy nightgown was revealed. This girl knew what we wanted. She's come dressed like this. The tattooed man's eyes were full of lust and everyone else laughed along too. Tiffany was beyond anxious when she had heard the news that Margot was caught and that they had only given her 30 minutes to gather the money or else they were going to chop his fingers off. How could she have had the time to change? She had just put on a coat and ran out. Even the shoes on her feet had not been changed. She wore slippers and in her haste, only one side was left on her. Let go. Let go of me. Tiffany slapped him in her struggle. When the slap was heard, the man's devilish urge flourished and he tore Tiffany's clothes apart. Bastard. All of you stop. If you're that capable, then come for me. Don't touch my sister. In the corner, when Margot saw Tiffany being pushed to the ground, his entire face collapsed. Earlier, he had been beaten up and was dying on the floor, but now, he sprung up and fought like crazy with two men. Don't touch her. Don't touch her. If you dare, then come for me. It was not sure where Margot found the strength. He actually struggled away from the two buff men and rushed to Tiffany, ready to push off the tattooed man. Chapter 1142. However, the man was instantly angered. He balled his fists and yelled at Margot while everyone else watching had rushed to topple the teenager too. Margot. Tiffany held on to her wrecked clothes and let out a shrill shriek. In the next second, Tiffany was slapped and the tattooed man was even rougher as he pulled onto her hair, dragging her to a corner. Whore. What are you shouting for? Come here. I'll have you screaming later. Sis. Sis. Let go of her. Margot was surrounded by the few men and beaten up. Slowly, he could not speak anymore. He could only fix his gaze on where Tiffany was being pulled to, his eyes filled with tears. As he helplessly watched Tiffany get dragged away while the man pinned her down to pull on her clothes, he could only watch as his sister was violated by the rogue. Margot felt his heart was about to explode. His voice was already hoarse and he could only shout weakly like a trapped animal, "Don't touch my sister. Don't touch her, "Don't touch my sister, don't touch her." He had never hated himself this much as he did this very moment. He hated himself. He wanted to kill himself. He wished he could kill himself with a knife. He was an animal. An animal. At the entrance of the store, the man with the gold chain lit the cigarette of the blonde and revealed a worried expression. "I think that's about enough. Wouldn't this be going overboard?" The boss only said to scare them a little. "What are you rushing for? Since we're scaring them, we have to do it right. Didn't the boss say that he wanted to be the hero that saves the beauty to get the other person's goodwill? Obviously, we have to make it more realistic. That way, the effect will be better," the blonde-haired man said nonchalantly. The man with the gold chain looked at Tiffany and sinisterly grinned. "I'm just afraid that if we continue like this, old K wouldn't be able to hold back. That chick is a real fresh one. If he can't hold back, then, we'll just let our buddies have some fun." The blonde looked to the tattooed man who was clearly starting to lose control and sneered. The man with the gold chain instantly reprimanded, "Hey, don't mess around. That's Zhuang Liaoyuan's daughter." "Pfft, so what if that's Zhuang Liaoyuan's daughter?" The blonde unhurriedly took out his phone and was ready to call the boss. Unexpectedly, at this moment, a person suddenly appeared at the entrance. She was decked in high heels and wore a wine-red dress, covered by a black windbreaker, and her naturally curly, long hair tumbled on her shoulders like kelp. It was an alluring woman. The cigarette of the man with the gold chain fell to the ground from his mouth, while the blonde guy had forgotten about his call too. Even the man who was ripping Tiffany's clothes had stopped to gape astonishedly at the woman. "Luna, run. Quickly run. Quickly leave this place. Run." When those people had not noticed, Tiffany had randomly pressed a number on her mobile phone and secretly sent a message to cry for help. However, when she had seen that it was Luna's number, she regretted it, worried that Luna would be in danger because of her. Who would have thought that the thing she was worried most about had still happened? When she saw that Luna had actually come alone, Tiffany was immediately alarmed and quickly shouted for her to leave. At the ruined entrance of the store and with her back to the dim moonlight, the woman's black windbreaker was wantonly teased by the wind. When her eyes fell to the corner where the girl was pinned down by a man with her clothes nearly torn apart to nothing, her eyes instantly turned murderous. The blonde-haired man stared at Luna's sudden appearance and his expression was lewd. Have we got another chick? Just nice. I was just worried about not having enough to share." Just as he said that, the sound of the wind came rushing at him and a strong force hit him on the temple. The blonde was kicked to the ground and he lay there unmoving. He had actually fainted from the kick. Chapter 1143. The others noticed that something was not right and were alarmed. All of them rushed up to the front to take her on. However, this woman's motions were practically diabolical. They could not get close to her no matter what they did. Instead, they had been beaten up one after another. They had met with numerous police who were difficult to deal with and had escaped police chases numerous times, yet they had never met such a strong opponent. This woman, who was she? Luna's cold poker face remained as she stepped on all those men rolling on the floor howling in grief. She made her way towards Tiffany. "Luna, Luna." Tiffany covered herself with both arms and shivered. Luna's expression remained calm as she took off her windbreaker and wrapped Tiffany up tightly. "Luna. Careful." Tiffany saw that behind her, the tattooed man had suddenly gotten up and held a stick in his head, ready to hit Luna on her head. Luna carefully put Tiffany down against the wall before abruptly turning around. Instead of backing up, she moved in and before the stick could fall on her, she kicked his wrist. The stick fell to the ground with a loud thud. Following that, the man was struck to the ground. Even after he had fallen onto the ground, he did not know how this woman's moves could be so swift. In fact, every move of hers had accurately hit him on his fatal points. Luna looked down on the tattooed man she had beaten to the ground. He was the man who had bullied Tiffany earlier. Then, she bent over and squatted before him, pulling him by the collar before she hit his face hard with a fist, then another fist, and another. The girl's face was devoid of expression, as if she was isolated from the outside world, entirely tranced in her own world. She robotically hit the man's face, one punch after another. The empty store echoed with the horrifying sounds of the punch. One could almost not recognize the man's face, and Luna's hands were stained red with blood as well. It was not sure whether the color of that blood was his or her own from hitting him too hard. Yet, she did not stop at all. Her punches grew vicious and her eyes had an inhumane look in them, as if she was a devil that had just crawled out of hell. All those present were stunned with shock. All her victims from earlier felt their legs give way as they fell to the ground, their faces full of fear. Even Margot and Tiffany were frightened too. At that moment, suddenly a voice yelled from behind Luna, "Whore! Stop! Raise your hands up!" The man with the gold chain from earlier suddenly held up a gun and was pointing it at Luna's head. Margot and Tiffany's faces dropped. Luna. Luna's attention was now caught. She pushed the tattooed man away and used the back of her hand to wipe off the splattered blood near the corner of her mouth. Her gaze fell on the gun. "Raise both your hands. Come here. Take off all of your clothes for me." The man snarled and hooted. "Luna." Tiffany was so worried that her eyes turned red. "Aren't I your target? Let her go." It was, now it isn't anymore. This whore has hurt so many of our buddies. Does she think we'll let her go easily? No way. The men that had been beaten up all slowly struggled up and viciously surrounded Luna. The atmosphere could not have been tenser. "Margot, cover Tiffany's eyes," said Luna calmly. Before his brain could process anything, Margot's body had already quickly followed Luna's orders as he stumbled over and covered Tiffany's eyes. In the instant Margot covered Tiffany's eyes, the sound of guns firing filled the empty night sky. The man with the gold chain had his eyes staring wide open as he fell to the ground with a bloody bullet hole in the middle of his forehead. In Luna's hand was a gun, pointing straight at the direction where the man had stood. Chapter 1144. In the instant that man fell to the ground with a bloody bullet hole in his forehead, those surrounding Luna had a change in expression. One of them subconsciously touched his waist, and indeed, it was bare. The gun in her hand was his. He did not even realize when she had taken it from him. God damn it. Now, among them were 3 leaders. One had fainted from this woman's kick the moment she walked in, another had been punched to a pulp, and the last one had been killed. These 3 people had recently started making their mark in Imperial. Rumor had it that they were malicious characters in the circle and ran heroin cartels at many casinos. They even had connections for weapons, yet today they had all fallen by the hand of a woman. If Luna was a lunatic for beating someone up coldly earlier, the current version of her was practically a robot with a gun in hand. She was a heartless, murderous robot. Facing human lives, even if it were ruthless people like them, they would still tremble a little with a gun in their hands, yet this woman had not hesitated for half a second from the moment she whipped out the gun and aimed to kill. This was no sweet beauty. She was practically a monster. Margot had covered Tiffany's eyes while he watched Luna kill someone with the gun, his face completely pale at this point. Even though he was born in a military family, this was his first time watching someone killed just a few steps away from him. A life was gone just like that. Under his father and grandfather's influence, he roughly knew that even if someone were incredibly talented in shooting, practicing and actual gunfire were 2 different things. Even if it were a professional police or a sniper with years of training, they did not dare to shoot a living person. They even needed a long time of counseling after killing someone for the first time. Nevertheless, no matter if it was before or after shooting, Luna's expression seemed to not have changed at all. As he was suddenly caught in this bloody scene and seeing a living person killed before him, the fear in Margot's heart had reached its peak. He felt even more admiration for this woman before him and a strong disdain for himself. Even though he was stupid, he was not entirely clueless. The instant he saw the man holding a gun, he knew that these people were not usual rogues who would not have guns. If it were not for Luna's sharp marksmanship subduing them earlier, they would have counterattacked like mad right now. As for him, not only did he involve his sister, but when she was being violated, He could only watch without any way of retaliating. Luna. When Tiffany heard the gunshots, her entire being was engulfed in fear. She pushed away Margot's hand that covered her eyes. When she saw that the person on the ground was the man with the gold chain while Luna stood in the same spot unharmed, Tiffany felt relieved and at the same time, her eyes were filled with worry. That shot was Luna? Whore. Why, you're dead. You killed someone. You actually killed someone. One of the other men trembled in fear as he shouted. Chapter 1145. Luna reacted as if she had heard a joke. Her lips curled. So? Should I help you call the police? You. The few men looked at each other and were so pale. They found themselves tongue-tied. When the three men had been drunk, they had bragged that they were the #1 criminal gang on the police's red files and had even boasted about how many policemen they had killed in pursuits. For this level of fugitives, even if they were caught, they would immediately be executed by a firing squad. How would they dare to call the police? Underground casinos, kidnap and extortion, rape attempts, and sheltering fugitives. All of them would be behind bars. The few of them looked at each other and came up with a conclusion. The woman before them was even more terrifying than the three rogues, so their best plan was to run away. Thus, they started to flee. Before they could run out, a woman's cold voice was heard from behind them. Stop right there. All of them froze. Did I allow you people to leave? The woman's tone was like a call from hell. They were so frightened that they shuddered. Luna lowered her gaze. Her eyes were filled with an animalistic darkness and bloodthirsty excitement before a hunt. She had intentionally not called the police and came here alone. There was no way she would allow them to leave so easily. No one was allowed to leave tonight. Luna's deadly gaze swept across those people. Earlier, who else touched her? No. No. I didn't. I didn't either. I swear I didn't touch a single hair of hers. Earlier, it was all of them who caught her and her brother. In that instant, everyone started to panic and swear that they were not involved, almost swearing on all 18 generations of their ancestors. Luna's gaze slowly fell on the rat-faced man hiding behind several people and trying to sneak off. Earlier, when that tattooed man was tearing apart Tiffany's clothes, it was he who had helped hold Tiffany down. When the man noticed Luna's attention on him, he knew things were about to take a bad turn, yet before he even had the time to escape, there was a loud thud on his face. In the next second, a loud wail followed and the man's wrist turned into a bloody mess as he rolled on the floor from pain. Damn it, you witch! I will kill you! That man's evil bellow came from his guts. He suddenly cursed loudly and then took out his handgun, yet the instant he held it up, it was smacked down by the butt of Luna's gun and he covered his hand as he rolled on the floor and wailed again. The speed of her gun was inhumanely fast. Beautiful, spare our lives. Big sis, spare our lives. We didn't even touch your friend at all. Really, trust us. Those with guns had been crippled. Forget about those unarmed, now all of them did not even bother to resist. The remaining few just fell to the ground, kneeling one after another. Unfortunately for them, Luna did not look like she was planning to let them off the hook. The murderous air around her had grown stronger as the gun in her hand pointed straight at the rat-faced man's head. Now that the two of his hands were crippled, he had no means of resisting. It was like slaughtering a sheep. Chapter 1146. Big sis. I'm wrong. I'm really wrong. I don't know anything. I'm just a nobody that runs errands for others. I will do whatever the boss says. When settling disputes, you shouldn't involve third parties. All of this is unrelated to me. That rat-faced man was engulfed by fear at this point and he started to beg for his life as he saw the gun pointed at him. You touched her. The woman's expression did not falter. That gaze. She really wanted to kill him. I didn't. I just held down the girl's hands. No, I didn't mean to. Please spare me my life, please. The man's legs were shaking so badly at this point. There was stinky, yellow liquid dripping from the crotch of his trousers. He was so scared that he had actually peed his pants. Luna did not have the patience to listen to his nonsense. Instead, the viciousness in her eyes was losing control from his clamor. Her head kept replaying that image of Tiffany being pushed down by that man to be violated. That image, it was slowly melding with that scene from 5 years ago. Her headache felt like it would split her skull. At the same time, it was getting harder for her to hold back. Luna left her finger on the trigger. She slowly increased its pressure, about to pull the trigger in the next second. At that moment, a pair of soft and warm arms hugged her from the back, breaking through her foggy mind. Luna. Enough. Enough. Calm down. I'm all right. I'm all right. Look at me. Luna. Calm down, okay? Luna, Luna. The girl's anxious and worried voice rang in her ear. Luna's rigid spine gradually softened and the bloodlust in her eyes had slowly extinguished as well, returning to a dim calmness. Just as Luna put down her gun, the gangsters quickly grabbed the opportunity and ran out. From the corner of her eye, Luna caught a glance of them and she raised a hand to fire near one of the guy's foot as he held a box in his arms. The man cried out and was so frightened that his soul almost left him. He respectfully delivered the box to the monster, then stumbled off. He thought to himself, damn it. That was 5 million. Never mind. It was more important to stay alive. That box was the 5 million that Tiffany had spent the night gathering. We've got the money back. Luna, let's leave this place quickly. Tiffany was afraid that something else would happen, so she quickly urged. You guys leave first, I need to clean up the place, said Luna. But you. Tiffany was obviously worried about leaving her alone. Go. Luna's gaze was gentle but resolute as she patted Tiffany's shoulder, then her eyes shot to Margot. Come here, hold your sister. Oh. Margot got up in a flurry, and because he walked too hastily, he was tripped by the body of the man with the gold chain and almost fell. He made his way to Tiffany and carefully helped her out of the store. Luna cleaned up all traces of her at the scene before calling the police. Usually, in such a situation, the police would just think that there had been a gang fight and a deadly brawl. Besides, when she fought with them, she noticed that the 3 leaders were not common rogues. They had an accent from the drug paradise, Golden Triangle, and were most likely deadly fugitives. How had Margot provoked these sort of people? Luna did not think further. She quickly left the scene and disappeared into the night. Chapter 1147. By the roadside, Tiffany waited restlessly outside the car. She was only relieved when she saw Luna walk out. She quickly walked up to her and called out, Luna. Let's go. Luna opened the car door for her and quickly helped Tiffany in. Margot just quietly shrunk into the back seat of the car. Tiffany pulled Luna's windbreaker closely around her and said worriedly, if I go home like this and bump into the maids, it might be troublesome to explain. Let's go to my place first. Tiffany nodded, her eyes teared up as she looked at the driving girl. Luna, I'm really sorry about tonight. In a moment of desperation, I just sent the message without thinking, then I started to worry that I would implicate you and something would happen. I have to bear the blame, I'm really sorry. Luna looked at Tiffany through the rearview mirror, her gaze no longer as murderous as it was in the warehouse. Her voice was gentle. No need to be sorry. I'm very happy that at such a moment, the person you thought of was me. As she looked at Luna's gentle expression, Tiffany felt an indescribable feeling. She took out a tissue and helped Luna wipe off the blood splatter on her cheeks. But, Luna, how did you come so quickly? I've been outstationed for work these few days. I just got on a flight back to Imperial tonight and I saw your message on the way home from the airport. Thankfully, the cab was not too far away from you at that time. Or else, if she had been a little later, she dared not to imagine what would have happened. Tiffany understood, then she looked worried again. Luna, would this affect you or anything? After all, you have just Luna tilted her head and gave Tiffany a look of assurance. Trust my capabilities of erasing traces. Tiffany nodded. She had an unconditional trust in the person before her. In the back seat, Margot stared at Luna with an absent-minded expression. His eyes, there was a certain yearning and longing that he had not noticed himself. He wanted to be someone like this. A person that others could rely on. For the people around him to trust and rely on without reservations. He wanted to be a real man. Half an hour later, Luna arrived outside her bungalow. Inside the house, Luna immediately found a clean set of clothes for Tiffany. Go and take a hot shower. Change out of your clothes. After Tiffany left to shower, Margot stood in the living room at a loss. He thought that with Luna's temperament, she would have berated him endlessly, and maybe even beat him up, so he was prepared to face it all. At last, Luna did not scold him. She did not even look at him as if he was invisible. He was being completely ignored. Luna's indifferent attitude made him feel even worse than being scolded or beaten up. A while later, Tiffany was done with her shower. Luna let Steamed Bun bring the first aid kit over, then called Tiffany to sit down beside her. Come here, let me look at your wounds. Luna just skimmed her body slightly and saw all the shocking signs of force on Tiffany's wrists and neck. It was even starker on her pale white skin, and this had yet to include the bruises under her clothes. Chapter 1148. When she saw Luna's increasingly ghastly expression with some hints of those uncontrollable emotions at the warehouse, Tiffany quickly held her hand and consoled, Luna, it's okay, they're just small bruises. Though, when she heard these words, Luna's expression did not calm down. Were these really just small bruises? To any woman, such an incident would cause trauma and even cast fear across a person's life. It could not be measured by the number of external wounds. Furthermore, this was Tiffany, a simple, innocent and well-protected girl who had never been wronged like this, yet she had met with such a horrific incident. Thankfully, she had come in time and those people did not get away with it, or else, she would not have let go of any of them. She would even chop Margot into pieces. Luna took a deep breath and restrained the aura around her that wanted to wreak havoc. She lightly put medication on Tiffany's wounds. It hurts a little, bear with it for a while. Tiffany was afraid that Luna would lose control again, so she did not dare to cry out even if it hurt. She repeatedly consoled her instead, it's okay, it doesn't hurt that much. In the corner, Margot, who had not spoken a word since the warehouse, stared stunned at the horrific bruises on Tiffany's body. In his head, he kept replaying that scene of Tiffany being assaulted while he was helpless. The dark clouds that shrouded him grew increasingly dense. The air pressure was increasingly low and, at last, it was as if he had finally reached his breaking point. He suddenly exploded. Margot balled his fists so hard that they creaked and his upper shoulders were shaking ferociously. In the quiet living room, his stammering sobs and whimpers were heard. They were akin to the sounds a trapped beast made, and it was getting louder and louder. When she heard the sound behind her, Luna paused putting medication on Tiffany and turned to look at the youth who was crying his eyes out uncontrollably. To be honest, the person she wanted to kill most in the storehouse was Margot. The reason why she had not said a single word to Margot or even glanced at him once was that she was afraid she would lose control. With her temperament, it was a waste of space to leave such dregs here. Luna treated the last wound on Tiffany before she put down the medication in her hand, closed the first aid kit and looked up calmly at the young boy. Margot, you want freedom, want to be at ease and unrestrained. You want a life that isn't being controlled by anyone, don't you? Well then, let me tell you that it doesn't matter if you smoke, drink, fight, race, or gamble. That's right, these are all free for you to do. You're already 18 years old, you're an adult, so you have a right to choose your own life. Even your parents have no right to plan your future. You can do whatever you want to do. When she said this, Luna's eyes suddenly turned cold. But the prerequisite for all of this is that you must have the goddamned capability to take the burden of your choices and its consequences. If you can't, then stop telling people to stop intervening your life while doing things that make your closest kin worry for you. To let a helpless girl gather 5 million and rush to that chaotic and dangerous place late at night to pay your ransom. Ask yourself, are you still a man? Margot choked on his sobs and walked to Tiffany with a tear-stained face, then knelt down and started slapping his face. Sis, sorry. Chapter 1149. I'm sorry, sis, no more next time. Seeing her brother cry in front of her, her chest tightened, but she felt helpless at the same time. She witnessed how her brother had gradually become like this. She already had no hopes for him and did not expect him to be extremely successful in the future. She just wished that he could live happily and safely, but now, he had just almost lost his life. She had no idea what to do with this brother of hers. She saw her brother's regretful expression and still held no faith in him. He might even return to his old ways in the next few days. Who knew? Because of Luna's provocation, he invested his time and effort in shooting practice, but it did not last for long. Tiffany's unsaid words were condensed into one plain sentence: get up, don't go to places like that ever again. Margot nodded. He wiped his tears away and stood up. What happened to your friends, Sun Bin and Liang Haoqiang? Are they all right? Tiffany suddenly remembered them and asked Margot. Based on her knowledge, Margot was best friends with them. Both of them were infamous rich brats in Imperial and were always up to nothing good. The three of them always looked for trouble, so they must have been involved this time as well. When Margot heard those two names, his expression changed. The two of them. They disappeared a long time ago and had not even called him up till now. They did not even care about whether he was alive or not. Their families stopped supporting them financially. He could still get a little money from his sister and he always shared his cash with them, thinking that his good deeds earned him two true friends, yet they had just taken him for granted. He was being treated as a huge fool. Tiffany could somewhat guess what had happened from his expression. She sighed and did not ask any more. They had most probably ran away and left him there. She had already told him not to befriend them, but he would get angry every time she spoke to him about it. He would say that she was disrespecting his friends. In the end, they would end up being unhappy about it and he would stay outside for several nights. So now, do you guys want to go back or stay here for the night? Luna asked. Luna, can I stay here for one night? Tiffany asked. Luna nodded. Of course. Tiffany felt happy. Then, I'll message my nanny. Margot then raised his hand. I want to stay here too. Can I? Sis, Luna. Luna looked at him expressionlessly. Sofa. Margot replied almost instantly, no problem. I don't even mind sleeping on the floor. I'll watch the door for you. Tiffany, sleep with me tonight, Luna told Tiffany. Okay. Tiffany was glad about it. They then went into the bedroom. Luna arranged the bed sheets and the both of them lay on the bed. To avoid Tiffany from having nightmares later, Luna kept talking to her about some relaxing topics to distract her from what had happened earlier. Tiffany lay on the soft and comfy bed with the gentle and sweet girl beside her. With her soft words drifting into her ears, all her leftover fear was gone. Chapter 1150. What a wonderful feeling to have a friend to share worries with and to share a bed together. Luna, thank you so much. I'm really not scared anymore. I was pretty scared and in despair at first, but I'm really glad that you came. It's all right now. You don't have to worry about me anymore. Tiffany eased Luna's worries as she was comforting her. All right then, let's go to sleep. Good night. At night, the two girls slept beside each other. Although Luna closed her eyes, she did not fall asleep until a stable breathing sound came from beside her. Tiffany slept peacefully with a warm expression on her face and no signs of fear or any symptoms of a nightmare. Luna's worried heart eased. That was fortunate. She did not want to see another one like herself. She tried her best to avoid something like this from happening, so she comforted Tiffany as if she was saving her former self. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Luna shifted her body up slightly. Come in. The door opened and Margot came in quietly. "Luna sis, is my sister asleep?" Margot looked at Luna cautiously. "Luna sis, can I talk to you for a bit?" Luna looked at him and left the bed. In the living room, Margot was standing awkwardly in front of Luna. He quickly took a chair and gestured to Luna. "Please sit, Luna sis." He then got her a glass of water before standing in front of her awkwardly again. He did not know how to initiate a conversation with her. Luna took a sip of water from the glass and glanced at the young man. "Speak your mind." Margot chewed on his lip. After some time, he spoke quietly. "Luna sis, can I still be saved?" Luna studied him. He seemed like a nervous young man awaiting his life sentence. The world will save the one who wants to save himself. Now that you're still here and asking me this question, there's still hope for you. Margot's tensed-up back relaxed a little and his eyes watered. "I know about the story of the boy who cried wolf. I understand that no matter what I say, no one will believe me again, but this time, I will prove myself through my actions." Margot looked at Luna shyly. "Luna sis, I want to become a man like you in the future." Luna's mouth twitched. "Your ambition." Wait, she was a woman, all right. "Luna sis, what were you doing before? Are you really just a normal actress?" Margot asked her curiously. Luna's eyes brightened. "What if I said no?" Margot was a little taken aback, then he said with determination, "No matter who you were before, good or bad, you're treating my sister so well and have helped us so much. You're a good person in my heart. Moreover, giving the enemy kindness is being cruel to yourself. You became my brother when you opened fire. Thank you." Chapter 1151. Late at night, in a high-class villa area in Imperial, Emma was walking around her living room with an annoyed and angered expression. "I've waited for a whole night and now you tell me there's been an accident? You told me that nothing would go wrong. I don't have to teach you how to do things, do I? There are so many of you and you can't handle Tiffany, a girl, and the useless Margot. Is this how you handle things? Brat. You assured us that Tiffany would never tell anyone from the Sterling family for the sake of her brother, and now my team is all gone. Obviously, someone from the Sterling assisted them. I've lost 3 men in this matter and now you're yelling at me?" The voice from the other side of the phone sounded very angry. "Anyway, it was your lack of capability that caused this. You have to settle this for me. It was already a risk when you insisted on going against someone from the Sterling family. Now that we've made them alarmed, you still want me to be involved further? We're done." The phone call ended. "You. Hey. Emma threw her phone aside with a frustrated expression. The next morning, the sun was bright and birds were singing in the sky. Pink flower petals drifted over all the way from the mountain, leaving a light aroma of blossoms in the air. The usually late Margot actually woke up early today. He quietly drove to a famous breakfast shop in Imperial and bought breakfast for the ladies back home. A while after Margot had left, a black Maybach parked outside. Theo came out of the car. He went to the back seat and helped his son down. The moment the little bun got down, he ran towards the door. He stopped as he reached the entrance. He was not tall enough to reach the password lock. The little guy went to his father embarrassingly and opened his arms wide, signaling to his father that he needed help. Theo just looked at his son questioningly. He crossed his arms and did nothing. His intention was obvious. "Call me father." The smart little bun, of course, understood. He pouted and his eyes screamed with anger. The little guy suddenly took out a small black controller. After clicking on it a few times, the door was opened from the inside. "Welcome back, the cutest and mommy's favorite little master." The robot's steamed bun greeted. The little bun patted its head, then glanced at his father cheekily. Theo smiled, his eyes doting on his son. It surely was troublesome to have a smart child, but it was his genes in the little guy after all. As the door opened, the little bun quickly ran in. Theo saw his son carefully opened his mother's bedroom door, but oddly, instead of going in, he stood there hesitantly. What happened? Theo went over and took a look. He then saw two lumps of figures on Luna's bed. There were two people in bed. Chapter 1152. Luna slept soundly with Tiffany beside her in Luna's pajamas. She was cuddling with Luna. Theo's expression turned dark instantly. She had gone out for work till late at night. Not only did she not see him, she had slept with another woman. Probably due to the strong aura of hatred emanating from Theo, Tiffany woke up. She saw Theo by the door and was shocked. Ah! Luna woke up as well. The moment she saw Theo, her expression changed. She sat up and said, "Damn it. Listen to me, my dear wife." Theo was speechless. Luna felt that something was off about what she just said. She was dazed. It was all Margot's fault. He kept calling her a man and a bro. She almost thought she was really a man. Luna cleared her throat and returned to her usual self. "Boss, why are you here?" "Ah, my little bun is here too. Wait for me outside, I'll be there soon." The little bun nodded obediently and went to the living room. Theo pinched the space between his eyebrows. "I'll leave you guys to change first." He then slowly closed the door. As Luna was picking out clothes for herself and Tiffany, she saw Tiffany not looking very happy, so she asked nervously, "Tiffany, what's wrong?" Tiffany looked at Luna and mumbled, "For some reason, I think Theo hates me." Luna's mouth twitched. "Just ignore him. As long as I like you." Tiffany nodded with a smile. While Luna acted tough on the outside, her heart was throbbing fast. Apparently, the devil was being jealous again. After Luna finished changing, she went to the living room. The little bun went up to her quickly. Luna held him up happily and kissed his soft little cheeks. "My little bun. I really missed you. Give me a kiss." She glanced at the cold Theo on the sofa. After she was done with the little bun, she slowly went up to Theo. She kissed the man's lips and in a volume that little bun could not hear, she said, "Of course, I miss my sweetheart even more." Theo's expression was still pretty gloomy, but he felt much better listening to the girl's sweet words. Still, he did not forget about the important issue at hand. "If I'm not mistaken, it was already midnight when you reached Imperial last night." It did not make sense that Tiffany would appear here at that time. At the same time, Theo's eyes landed on the sofa on the opposite. There were obvious traces that someone had slept on it. The doorbell rang just then. Could it be Margot? Luna went up and opened the door. Just as she thought, it was Margot. "Sis. Luna sis. I bought you both breakfast." Luna scratched her head, then reported what happened to Theo like a primary school kid reporting her homework to the homeroom teacher. Actually, Margot was in trouble and angered Chief Sterling again, so Tiffany brought him over here just for the night. Chapter 1153. As Margot heard her, he went along with her. He then looked at Theo nervously. "Pardon my intrusion, brother-in-law Luna." Theo's expression obviously softened when he heard how Margot addressed him. Luna let out a sigh of relief when the emergency was settled. She subtly signaled a "good job" sign to Margot. Margot's expression was indescribable. After knowing her for so long, she had always acted arrogantly. This was the first time seeing her so afraid of someone. So, was this the rumored fear of wife? Margot had a lot of plastic bags in his hands. He bought a wide variety of breakfast, more than enough for the 5 of them to eat. "Sis, have some buns. I bought your favorite crab meat bun from restaurant I Xing. You can't get them even if you went and queued up for it." Luckily, the owner recognized me and reserved a box for me. Margot then passed Tiffany a colorful little box. He then went up to Luna. "Sis Luna, I'm not sure about what you like to eat, so I bought some of everything. Just eat whatever you like. I bought these from the famous shops in the city." Margot was really familiar with these sort of things. These were popular items from the renowned restaurants in Imperial, and you would not be able to get them if you did not go early enough to queue up for it. Thank you. Luna gave the little bun his favorite shrimp bun, then fed the devil beside her a slice of fried pancake. Boss, you've probably never tried this before. Take a bite, it's really delicious. She was feeding him personally. Seeing how the girl was treating him, the devil was happy now, so he took a bite. How's it? Good? Luna asked. Brother-in-law Luna, while it's really cheap, that's the best fried pancake in town. Not bad. He did not care where was it from. It tasted good because his wife was feeding him. While they were having breakfast, Margot could not take his eyes off Theo. He felt more respectful towards Theo as compared to Luna. He had heard about Theo from before. When he realized that his family might arrange his sister to get married to him, he simply thought that Theo was just a richer businessman. His perspective was totally changed now. To be able to tame Sis Luna and make her act like a real woman meant he could not be just an ordinary person. He was really curious. How did he do that? After breakfast, the siblings prepared to leave as they knew Luna had just returned from workout station, so they did not want to bother their family time. Before they left, Margot went up to Theo when Luna was talking to Tiffany. He asked the question he was pondering about over breakfast. Well, brother-in-law Luna, can I ask you something? Sure. I'm just a little curious. How did you manage to handle Sis Luna? Margot was like a student awaiting enlightenment. Theo glanced at the young man as he gave the question some thought. Margot waited for his reply patiently. Theo replied after a while, with my beauty. Margot was speechless. Chapter 1154. At the Sterling residence, after Tiffany and Margot reached home, Margot spent some time and effort to find his long-lost school bag. All the textbooks inside were almost brand new. There was even a new English dictionary and an electronic dictionary. The stationery was well prepared. It was all thanks to Tiffany. Margot swept the dust off the bag, then took out a new set of uniform which he had never worn before from his messy wardrobe. On the school badge was Hongwon High School. After he found his uniform and bag, Margot took a shaver. He went into the toilet and trimmed his most treasured hair, letting it fall into the flat hairstyle that he hated the most. He wiped off the bits and pieces of hair on his neck. Margot stared into the mirror and looked at himself for a long time, his eyes tearing up. He took a deep breath and forced his tears back in. Then, he went back to his bedroom, put on his uniform and picked up his school bag. Margot closed his bedroom door and left his bedroom. As he passed by Tiffany's room, he stopped. He looked at the weak-looking yet always protective sister and called her, Sis. Tiffany was folding the laundry in her room. She turned around as she heard someone calling her. To her amazement, she whispered when she saw who was at the door, You, Margot. The young man stood up straight. He had put on his blue school uniform and slung his bag over his shoulder. His clean, short hair made him look freshened up. The light in his eyes especially made him look like the rising sun. This was her brother. Although he was still the same person, he also felt like totally different. She had never seen him like this. Tiffany almost could not recognize him. She did not know how to react. Margot greeted his sister, Sis, I'll be going to school now. Tiffany returned to her senses. She just replied instinctively, Oh, okay, it's still early now, be careful on the road. Okay. Margot nodded. He looked at Tiffany and seemed like he wanted to say something, but in the end, he just left. Luna, Sis said it. A man should walk the walk, and not just talk. Tiffany still felt surreal. She quickly went to the balcony to look out. She had really seen her brother walk out in his uniform with his school bag. Her eyes welled up. The 18-year-old young man seemed to have grown up overnight. At Hongwon High School in Imperial, Margot was actually pretty handsome, but his old look was intimidating and he always looked for trouble everywhere, thus no one liked to be near him. With his new short haircut, Margot went to school. He walked past the green blinds with his hands in his pockets. He attracted a lot of attention on the road, especially from the high school girls, who were all discussing him. Wow! Who's that guy? He looks so cool. I don't know. I've never seen him before. How can I not know about such a hot guy in our school? Ugh, why does he look a little like Margot? Margot? You mean that troublemaker? Are you kidding me? More and more people talked about him. Finally, a girl was impatient. This is stupid, we'll know the moment we call his name. She then raised her voice and yelled, "Hey, Margot! Margot!" Margot turned around as he heard someone call out his name. What? Chapter 1155. The students' jaws fell when they heard his reply. Wow! That's really Margot. Did he go for plastic surgery? Can plastic surgery fix his brain as well? Haha, who knows? Maybe it can even cure his stupidity. Everyone roared with laughter. With Margot's former attitude, he would have already punched the person in the face, but because of his near-death experience last night, he felt his former self had been so childish that he almost wanted to give himself a tight slap in the face. They were right. He had been pretty stupid before. Margot just stayed quiet when people laughed at him. He turned around and walked to class to everyone's surprise. What's happening? Did he eat something wrong? Maybe he argued with his family. That's not something new. He's just a useless guy. I think he was probably triggered by something. No point guessing. Isn't it good that we have another handsome guy in our school? I'll leave handsome Zhang to you. I'm on my way to the new target. The whole day of classes took a toll on Margot. Because he never really paid attention in class, he had no idea what was happening. It was like he was listening to some foreign language and he felt like he was being tortured. Finally, school ended. The young man looked a little disappointed, but he was not about to give up yet. By the school entrance, there were two people with weird clothes and odd hairstyles. They had cigarettes between their fingers and were puffing while looking at the students walk out. One of them whipped out his phone and made a call. Hey, Margot, where are you? Why is your phone switched off all the time? Opposite you. Margot looked at his former best friends right outside the school entrance. Sunbin looked around to see a guy with a phone by his ear and his cigarette dropped out of his mouth. You, Margot? Margot ended the call and walked up to them. What's up? Sunbin and Liang Haoqiang looked at each other in disbelief. Margot, are you alright? Margot looked at the time on his phone impatiently. If you have something to tell me then just say it or else, I'm going home. Hey, Margot, are you angry about what happened last night? We really couldn't do anything. Where could we have gotten so much money? By the way, how did you get out of it? Did your sister bring the money over? Sunbin asked. Did you ask more from your sister? Let's go and win some back. You must be able to do it. You have good luck. Liang Haoqiang was excited. Last night, when he was abandoned by the both of them, he thought countless times that he would bash them up the moment he saw them, but now, he felt that he did not want to waste any time and effort on them. If he had really been betrayed by his brothers, he might really get angry, but the two of them, were they even his friends? Get lost. Margot spun on his heel and left. Chapter 1156. At the Sterling residence. Recently, a few of Jonathan's old friends came to Imperial for work. Since it was such a rare opportunity, Jonathan invited them to his house. Tiffany served the guests, then ordered the servants to prepare dinner. A middle-aged man with a 3-star rank greeted warmly, "How's the old chief?" "My father's recovering in the military caretaking center recently. He's still going strong," Jonathan replied as he served them tea. "Is your wife not back yet?" "I've already requested to the higher-ups, but I guess I won't get an easy approval." "Fortunately, you still have Tiffany with you. She's become even more beautiful after a few years. Who knows which kid will be lucky enough to be with her in a few years. I bet Jonathan won't let her daughter get married so easily." Ha ha ha. Jonathan was very proud of his daughter. His wife worked as a military scientist and her job required a high level of secrecy, so she stayed in the laboratory mostly and gave almost all of her time to her career and country. He, on the other hand, spent most of his time in the army and Tiffany handled most of the things at home. "Oh, how's Margot?" one of them asked. The moment he said it, the others looked at him nervously and shook their heads. His son was a taboo topic. That person forgot about it and felt a little awkward, but he could not take his words back now. Jonathan felt a little bitter looking at his comrade's awkward expression. He did not really care about keeping up his reputation anymore because it had all been ruined by Margot. Even he had already given up even with his strong personality. "Margot, he's still like his old self," Jonathan replied. What a helpless remark. "Right, I have big news this year. Do you guys still remember the 3 drug lords who escaped 4 years back? Mr. K, Poison Eye, and Dragon Head." One of them changed the topic. "Yeah. What about them?" This topic caught everyone's attention. All of them were caught. "Mr. K is injured severely. His face is nearly destroyed. Dragon Head was killed with a gunshot to his head. Poison Eye is slightly better, he just had a concussion. They're all in prison now." "Really?" Jonathan was really interested. "Who did it?" The person wasn't found. The crime scene was at a relatively remote area. No witnesses, no security cameras. We asked a few of their henchmen, but they said they drank too much and fought among themselves. Even Mr. K and Poison Eye said so, although the evidence didn't show otherwise, but I feel that something isn't right. Who cares? No matter whether they fight within themselves or someone else did it, it's a good thing. It's because of the 3 of them that we lost 2 good comrades. As Jonathan chatted happily in the living room, there was a familiar voice from behind him. "I'm back. Is Margot back?" Everyone looked towards the entrance. Chapter 1157. Did he come back this early? Jonathan was suspicious. That brat always came back late and was not home recently. Normally, he would have returned even later than usual. He turned around and was about to nag him, "You still know this is your home, huh?" But the words could not come out. The boy entered in his school uniform and his school bag. With a cleanly cropped haircut, he looked exactly like a healthy high school boy. Was this his son? Not only Jonathan, his comrades were shocked as well. The last time they saw him, he had hair longer than a girl's and always wore striking colored outfits like a disco ball. This young man in front of them was way too different from what they remembered. "Uncle Zhang, Uncle Ling, Uncle Zheng." Margot greeted the guests. They returned to their senses. "It's really Margot. I almost couldn't recognize him." "Me too." "Jonathan, what do you mean like his old self? He looks totally different. He's really grown up. Like father, like son." While Jonathan had a lot of questions, it was not the time to ask, so he just casually commented, "Stop praising him just because he looks like a human being now." At dinner, Margot acted obediently the whole time. He used to hate dinner like these with many older people around. He would usually eat very little and quickly retreat to his room. However, this time he actually finished the entire meal and sent the guests to the door after dinner. After the guests left and before Jonathan could ask anything, the young man went up to his father. "Father, I need your help for something." Jonathan raised his eyebrows. So, he was up to something. He acted obediently because he needed something. But he really invested a lot this time. He had even cut his most precious hair. Jonathan's expression darkened a little. He decided that if Margot mentioned anything about going on an adventure, he would disown him and let him be. "Say, what is it?" Jonathan said coldly in the study room. The young man stood in front of his father. He glanced at his father's silver-streaked hair nervously before taking a deep breath. "Father, I'd like you to hire a tutor for me or send me to a tuition class. My exams are in a few months' time. I know with my grades now, it's impossible to get into any university." Forcing me into a university will be a waste of time as well, so I'd like to join the army first, then I'll study while training. Next year, I'll go to military school. Jonathan was stunned when he heard the first sentence and was dumbfounded when Margot finished. Jonathan tried to organize his thoughts. He asked, "What did you say just now? You want to join the army and go to military school? You want me to hire you a tutor? Tuition classes?" Did he lose his mind? Chapter 1158. Yes. The young man replied in a determined tone. His expression did not look like he was joking. "Why do you suddenly have this thought? How can I believe that you're not just acting at the spur of the moment, or is this just a bad joke?" Jonathan's expression looked serious. The young man clenched his teeth. "Father, I'm serious about it. As for why, you know that I've never really had any huge ambitions. I just don't want people around me to worry about me. I also hope that I can protect the people I love if anything happens. I want to be someone you can rely on, and not just someone to be protected." Jonathan was truly surprised by his son's words. If Margot said something like, "I want to protect my country and make my family proud," he would never believe it. But yet he had uttered these. As Jonathan was thinking it through, Margot took out a scary long whip and gave it to his father. "Father, I actually wanted to follow sister's advice and hide it from you, but I can't just let it be." The young man's body trembled as he remembered what happened last night. "Last night, I tried to get money on my own to leave the house, so I listened to Sun Bin and Liang Haoqiang. I went to the casino and was cheated. I lost $5 million. What did you say?" Jonathan smacked the table furiously as his expression changed. Margot put the whip on the table and continued, "They aren't local and there were a lot of them. I was actually expecting Sun Bin and Liang Haoqiang to come back with the money to save me, but in the end, they abandoned me." "Expecting the two of them to save you?" Jonathan's expression darkened. "How can my son be so stupid? I did something even more stupid afterwards." Margot's voice went hoarse. "I dared not call home. Without any more ideas, I called Sis. You bastard." Jonathan threw his teacup away as uneasy thoughts suddenly floated in his mind. He freaked out. "What happened to your sister last night? Tell me." If something had not happened to Tiffany, there was no way he would change so drastically all of a sudden. With his experience, he could easily imagine what had happened last night. The moment he thought about what Tiffany might have gone through, his mind went haywire. Sis brought the money over, but they did not fulfill their promise. They wanted her to stay with them for the night. In the next moment, Jonathan whipped the young man harshly. Margot fell to the floor. The door was opened from outside. Tiffany rushed in and stopped her father from hitting Margot. "Margot! Didn't I tell you not to tell father? What happened to you?" Margot's face went pale from the pain. "Sis, I don't want to hide behind you anymore. I'll be responsible, I deserve it." Chapter 1159. Tiffany. "Go away. I'll surely kill this bastard today." Jonathan was totally blinded by his rage. "I shouldn't have let you go the last time. And now you made your sister. Why did he not kill this bastard last time? Why?" Jonathan drowned in his feelings of guilt. He blamed himself for how useless he was. If his wife came back, how could he be responsible for this? And his father. He wanted to kill himself right away. Tiffany yelled loudly as she realized her father had gone berserk. "Father. I'm all right. I'm okay. Nothing happened last night." Jonathan did not believe her. With his eyes wide, he roared, "How could nothing have happened? Why would he kneel in front of me now? Go away, Tiffany. I'm telling the truth, father. It's true that I was almost violated by the bad guys last night, but then Luna came and saved both of us. We stayed for the night at Luna's place last night and only came back this morning. You can ask Luna if you don't believe me." "Luna?" Jonathan was shocked. "Yes. Father, the 3 drug lords you discussed with your friends today was probably the 3 from last night. Luna killed one of them with a gun she took from them and another one passed out from fighting. As for the last one, his face was almost destroyed because when Luna reached the scene, she saw he was bullying me, so she beat him up really badly. It should be the 3 of them in the news. Tiffany explained to him as fast as possible. Jonathan's uncontrollable anger cooled off a little. What you just said, is it true? Yes. Father, if something really happened to me last night, would I still be here today? Tiffany explained logically. Jonathan's tensed-up expression softened a little as he finally believed his daughter. Tiffany then told his father about what happened last night in detail. She then asked worriedly, Father, will anything happen to Luna? She killed a person after all. I'm really worried that she might be charged. Jonathan replied coldly, What can happen? Even if something were to happen to her, I will ensure her safety. Tiffany felt assured now. Luna would definitely be safe since her father gave her his word. Now, Jonathan understood why the gang had lied and said they drank too much and fought among themselves. They wanted to save their face and not admit that a little girl had defeated them. As for the henchmen, they had probably gone along with the lie after they saw how powerful Luna was last night. Get up. You should be grateful that your sister is okay. If not, I'd have killed you no matter how regretful you feel. Jonathan said coldly. Margot covered his bleeding shoulder. With Tiffany's help, he stood up slowly. So, this is why you suddenly changed? Jonathan asked. Margot nodded. I want to be someone like Sis Luna. If you become 100th of her, I would be extremely grateful. Jonathan sneered at him. Chapter 1160. Now, I owe that girl another one again. Jonathan sighed. Tiffany was really grateful for Luna. It was the first time she met someone like Luna. If someone treated her just a little nicer, Tiffany would do anything to repay them. Jonathan studied his son. I'll make arrangements for what you mentioned just now as long as you're determined to change. Also, it's Saturday tomorrow, so spend some time with your grandfather at the care center. Let him worry less about you. As for what happened last night, you can tell him about it, but don't tell him like how you broke it to me. I almost killed you instantly. You know your grandfather has a heart condition. I understand, I know what to say. Okay, go and take care of your wound. At midnight, Jonathan stood beside the window. He gazed outside with a complicated expression. Let's hope that the child will really grow up this time. Many people mature after experiencing some life-changing events. As for Luna, for her to be where she is now, what has she gone through? The next day, at History's main office in Imperial, Emma did not look very happy. James and several other core members were also present. Besides the Sterling family drama being ruined, History was also not doing well. The quality of their latest product was especially far weaker than before. Even though the design department would release new designs from time to time, it was getting worse. Spirit and the fashion media would pressure them. James was the most uneasy one among everyone present. As the head of the design department, of course, he understood the main issue lay with him. If History had no more high-quality designs, Spirit would overtake them soon enough. Is there anything you'd like to say? Emma suddenly turned around and looked at James. Boss, actually. As James was about to come up with an explanation, Emma interrupted him. I don't need your explanation, I just want results. Emma's sounded indifferent. Spirit's recent designs are becoming more and more popular. They're taking a really huge hit at History. Spirit's business is growing bigger and bigger. What is the design department doing? That's right. In the end, the one that put us up at the top spot is the design department, and all these responsibilities should fall under you, James, since you're the design director, one of the members said. James glared at that person, then turned towards Emma as he was freaking out. Did you find the person I asked you to? Emma asked. James knew who Emma was talking about. It was the genius from Italy, Elias. However, putting Elias and fashion design together was odd, and people had already forgotten about him long ago. Who knew if he was still as good as before? Moreover, James did not want to be near that crazy guy, so he had not really paid much attention to it when Emma mentioned it previously. Of course, most importantly, he was worried that his position would be affected. To look for a designer that was surely better than him, and with such a troublesome character spelled trouble for him.